Hello, so today I'm going to be talking about my views on the course so far and 3 questions that I would like to ask or address. My view so far about the course is that it's phenomenal. I do like the fact that it's completely virtual, and this is my first time doing a video in a class, and I've been, we're all grad students, so I think that's pretty different, that the class is completely virtual and we're able to see the work of our peers. So my first article is about the school reform for rural America. A lot of times in class we did talk about urban settings, but I think it is important to kind of look at the rural communities and see what they're struggling with. So according to the article, 48% of children live in rural areas, do live in poverty. Also, they are more likely to use methamphetamines, and they're more likely to use amphetamines, which are drugs. So drug abuse is rampant in rural areas, not only just in urban areas. So according to the article as well, rural communities face problems with hiring teachers. Most of the citizens of the rural areas, they are less likely to be qualified or certified teachers, so they have a harder time finding teachers to teach more than one subject, or just one teacher to teach one subject. So one thing that they have started doing was distant learning, which is using laptops or technology to teach students, which I think is different, but I think that if it solves the problem, it solves the problem. One thing that they did mention was that a lot of the schools are unwilling to become charter schools. So because of they have what they call school of choice. So charter school would be by lottery, and a lot of the people in rural areas, they like to kind of choose where they want to go. So they are pretty suspicious of chartering a public school. And Teach for America and KIP, they often work in urban areas because of funding. So most of the teachers in Teach for America and KIP are only located in urban areas. So that's not really a solution for rural areas. So I didn't think about that, but a lot of rural areas do face same problems as urban areas do, and then sometimes it's actually pretty worse. Most college graduates are not willing to relocate to rural areas because of the likelihood that they're going to get employed. A lot of college graduates or high school graduates, they wind up relocating to other places because the lack of opportunity. So I thought that was pretty interesting. My second article is called The Impact of Single-Sex Education on American Reading Achievement, an analysis of an urban middle schools reform effort. So this article takes a look on African American students in rural areas and the possible solution to improve their academic success. So it is known that most African American men especially, but including women, they do lag behind their white counterparts. Most of them have a hard time with academic success as well as career success because they are unable to enter college. They have hardships, especially outside of the classroom. So this article takes a look on the effort of single-sex schools for African Americans. I thought this was pretty interesting because I came from a single-sex high school. It was predominantly Spanish and black, but it was for women. But this one focuses on single-sex education for men as well, and it did prove to be successful. There was little bit known about the success of single-sex education for African Americans, but this article does specifically look at reading levels. So the reading levels for both men and women did increase, more so for women than men, but the men's reading levels increased. They did take a look as to why there is a gender achievement gap in schools currently and why do men lag behind women. It does note that there is a theory that schools nowadays are more feminized. The subjects they teach, the materials they read, the teachers, they're more feminized, so they are more able to relate to the female students. They target female students, so that kind of causes the men to lag. It also says that because of this, there is a gender achievement gap, and it is in all areas. It's not only in tests, but it's also in student leadership, it's also in standardized tests, and it's also in the enrollment of post-secondary education. So in college settings, you will see more women than men, which is a result of their secondary education. So I thought that was pretty interesting coming from a single-sex school and a graduate from an HBCU. I thought that was pretty interesting. So my last article is Teach for America and Teach for All, Creating an Intermediary Organization Network for Global Education Reform. So this article is about Teach for America. And me, I was a candidate for Teach for America, and I didn't get accepted. So I think that looking into the organization, I definitely do see some loopholes and some things that I would, I'm kind of happy I didn't step foot into that. But it's about its roots. It was founded in 1982 by Wendy Coop. Yes, it was founded by Wendy Coop. Its goal is to offer education, but more so to focus on the inequality for students. So focusing on more of a culture of creating and instilling pride and helping those inner city kids who might be struggling. So it's more of a holistic approach. It's more of a humanistic approach to education. So most Teach for America candidates, they are four-year graduates. They are mainly student leaders or significant students with high GPAs. They are often recruited, and they get recruited. They do have it's an extensive interview process. If you're selected, you do have a 5-year summer institute and 18 hours of student teaching, according to the article. And it does say that Teach for America candidates do consider themselves highly qualified if they're in training. So based off their credentials, they are considered highly qualified, which is different, I would say. If you're not certified, you shouldn't be considered. It's kind of difficult to call someone highly qualified if they're not really certified to teach. But, that's just what the organization feels. But this article talks more so on the expansion of Teach for America and its policies into Teach for All, which is currently operating. It was established in 2007, according to the article, and it operates in 34 countries under the same principles as Teach for America. And, we often criticize Teach for America because of its reason for deprofessionalizing teaching, as we talked about in the course. So I think that's pretty interesting because I didn't really look at it in that way. But when you read these articles, it kind of shed a lot of light that a lot of Teach for America candidates, they only stay for their 2-year commitment. So you commit 2 years, you want to be a teacher, you want to do this for a lifetime, but you only committed 2 years in the organization. Most of them, they're going to want to do other things, business, medicine, law. So most of them don't even really stay in teaching for that long. So there is criticism about that. And there is no, the controversy, that's the controversy, the lack of teacher preparation in Teach for America. There is a lack. That 5 weeks and 18 hours of student teaching will equip you to be a teacher. But there is support for Teach for America in that it has improved urban education tremendously. It has been successful in educating rural students, and so there's 2 criticisms for Teach for America. So those 3 articles really caught my attention. As I said, sorry if I was rambling, but yeah. Thank you.